A federal agent was just dragged 230 feet by a deportee who had already cut off his ankle monitor and fled years ago. And ICE agents are now facing an 830% increase in assaults. And why is that? Because the left has declared open season on the very people enforcing our laws. We've got left mayors calling them Nazis and radicals. We've got people doxing their families, and the media is sitting here pretending that everything's just another day, right? This is a full-scale war on law and order, and the people behind it are wearing suits and smiling on CNN. This is Andy with TrendingPolitics.com. Hit like, subscribe, and let's get into this one.
So a Honduran national is now facing federal charges after allegedly dragging an ICE officer with his car during an attempted arrest in Oklahoma. The agent suffered multiple injuries, including a possible brain injury after being dragged nearly 230 feet. It comes as ICE agents are facing an 830% increase in assaults from this time last year. Let's bring in acting ICE Director Todd Lyons. Mr. Director, thanks so much for joining Fox and Friends this morning.
Thanks, Lawrence. Thanks for having me.
So, Mr. Director, tell me exactly why this guy was stopped. What was he wanted for?
So, Lawrence, this individual was lawfully ordered deported from the country approximately 4 years ago. He was given the opportunity to leave. He had an ankle monitor on him. He wasn't being held in detention. He went ahead and cut that ankle monitor off, and he fled. So here we have an individual who was lawfully ordered, removed from the United States by a federal judge. He fled immigration officials, which is a crime. He was later tracked down to the state of Oklahoma. My officers and agents did a traffic stop to go ahead and effectuate that final order of removal, and he fled the scene. He went ahead, like you said, he dragged our officer, a couple hundred feet, causing multiple injuries. Luckily, he's going to be okay. But this is just one of the hundreds of cases across the country of these individuals that have been ordered deported or have committed crimes in the United States, yet ICE is demonized because we're effectuating the law. And, like you said, 830% increase in assaults on my officers and agents. It's totally unacceptable.
I think people, they call y'all ICE officers, which y'all are, but y'all also are federal agents. You get warrants, people have final deportation orders, and you don't get to disagree with them. A judge assigned them. You got to go pick up the folks that are doing it. Tell me, what is it like for the ICE officers today? Because I wouldn't want to do this job right now.
Well, Lawrence, one great thing is the men and women of ICE are extremely brave, and you see that every day with the criminal aliens that they remove. It's hard for them right now because when you have these lunatic leftists that are out there antagonizing crowds, calling on violence on ICE officers, you have elected officials calling on violence and the doxing of ICE officers. It's extremely stressful. It's stressful on them, it's stressful on their families, their co-workers, and all they want to do is their law enforcement mission. Yet they are being villainized and demonized for doing their lawful law enforcement job that they signed up for. I've had the opportunity to serve for 4 presidents, and I've never seen the rhetoric like it is right now.
It's terrible. Martha McCallum talked to one of your officers yesterday, and they talked about how proud they are to work for ICE. Let's watch it.
I'm very proud to say that I work for ICE, and to have to take off my polo or, hide behind so that way my family is not put in danger or my colleagues are not put in danger. And I'm very, like I said, proud to work for ICE and to have to kind of put my polo down or my badge away for, for the safety of us.
So, Mr. Director, while your agent is saying this, you have mayors in liberal cities that are essentially villainizing them, comparing them to Nazis. This is what the mayor of Chicago said.
I don't want it to be lost that we are living in unprecedented times. It should not be lost that the President of the United States of America is using ICE as his own militarized force to engender and institute anxiety and fear.
How do you respond to that?
It's disgusting, Lawrence. It really is. That agent, Selena, she's proud to work for her. We're proud to have her as a law enforcement agent with us. And no law enforcement officer should be ashamed of the uniform they wear. I will always stand by the track record of what the men and women of ICE do every day. If you look at the public safety threats we're removing, and for an elected official like the mayor of Chicago to compare us to a militarized force, like I said, that's absolutely disgusting, and he's totally wrong. And what he should really do is look at Chicago with the amount of criminal aliens that he's harboring under his sanctuary policies. The men and women of ICE are out there every day doing their law enforcement mission. They are some of the bravest people I've ever had a chance to serve with. And, you know, like you said, Martha interviewed those agents, and they weren't afraid to come out and say exactly how they feel about working for ICE. They put themselves at risk by showing their faces. You know, like I said, their families could be doxxed, they could be threatened, but they are proud of the work they do because they know they're making a difference for the American citizens.
Real quickly, Mr. Director, I only got about 30 seconds. I know from my training in law enforcement is you tell people, tell your officers, keep the community safe, but go home. When I'm looking at these situations, what is going to be done to keep them safe? Because I see bricks being thrown at them, gunshots. I mean, a vest can only do so much.
Well, we have the support of this administration. The president has our back. We have the outstanding leadership of our Secretary Noem, and we're going to take every effort with our partners to make sure we prosecute these individuals fully to the max for anyone that threatens or hurts an ICE agent.
All right. Mr. Director, thanks so much for joining Fox and Friends.
This ICE agent could have been killed. Being dragged 230 feet, possible brain injury, that's what we're talking about here. But while his blood was still on the pavement, you heard the mayor of Chicago getting on TV comparing ICE agents to Nazis. And that's not just rhetoric. That's incitement. That's intentional incitement. These agents, they don't want to write the laws. They just enforce them. That's their job. And for doing their jobs, they're being treated like criminals by the very people who swore to uphold the laws of our country. We're watching the collapse of justice in real time. When you let criminals go free, when you cut deals with sanctuary cities, when you block ICE from doing its job, this is the result. Violent offenders roaming the streets, federal agents getting hospitalized, and the people in charge don't care. They literally don't care. They go on camera, act outraged for like 12 seconds, and then head off for the next fundraiser with their activist space. And here's the truth. They don't want you, the American citizen, to be on the side of ICE in the first place. They want you to turn against ICE. They don't want you to be supporting law and order. They want you to think that ICE is the modern day Gestapo and that fighting them is a holy mission. This ICE agent was a hero. His team tracked down a fugitive who fled justice for over 4 years. That's 4 years of risk to every neighborhood he passed through. And when they finally moved in to arrest him, he chose to run and maim a federal officer in the process. And that's just complete aggression. That's a real threat. But the left doesn't care about threats unless they can use them for votes. They protect the criminals, smear the agents, and hand the microphone to every anti-ICE activist who wants to burn the country down. You can't run a nation like that. You can't have law and order when half the government is apologizing for the people who are breaking it. This moment should be a wake-up call. ICE is under attack, quite literally, and not just from criminals, but politicians who have no clue that what these agents face on a daily basis. They've been doxxed, threatened, assaulted, and they're being dragged behind vehicles. And still, they show up, they protect our borders, and still carry out the laws that others are too cowardly to enforce in the first place. To every ICE agent out there, we see you, we back you, and we will not stop calling out the people who have made you a target. This is Andy with TrendingPolitics.com. Stay informed, stay vigilant. I'll see you next time, and share this video.